Hi, I'm Tyson Franklin and welcome to this week's episode of 5 Minute Friday. Last week I discussed why you need to create a disaster folder for your business, outlining all the possible problems and disasters that can arise and why everyone in the business needs to know step by step what to do so the business and the clients of the business are affected as least as possible. So today I wanted to talk about the butterfly effect. I'll give you the definition. It's a phenomenon whereby a minute localized change in a complex system can have large effects everywhere. Now you might be wondering, why am I talking about this? I arrived home from the United States yesterday after attending Podcast Movement in Philadelphia and another event in Arizona. Our flights were supposed to be an American Airlines flight from Phoenix to LA, nice and simple, then a Qantas flight from LA to Brisbane, and then Brisbane on to Cairns. And it should have taken about 24 hours, which is normal. I'd usually do it each year. I was traveling with two friends and we arrived at the airport plenty of time, but as we sat patiently, there was an announcement over the loudspeaker that the first officer had called in sick and could not make the flight. Now, why he or she was sick, we have no idea. It may be in a bad burrito, or they might have had a big night out in the booze. We're not to know. But regardless of the reason, our American Airlines flight was delayed for about an hour and a half because they had to wait for a new first officer to arrive who was on another incoming flight. This delay meant we arrived in LA late and we missed our connecting flight to Brisbane. But not to worry, Qantas managed to get us on a flight to Melbourne instead, and from there we could fly direct to Cairns. So it wasn't really going to delay things by too much, maybe an hour or so. When we arrived in Melbourne, we were supposed to get a direct flight to Cairns, but like I said, we waited and waited for our bags at the baggage carousel. That never actually turned up, and we missed our flight to Cairns. We went to the service desk and we were informed that our bags were still actually in Los Angeles and nobody had told us. Now the service desk at Qantas, they were great, and they organised another flight for us to Sydney, and then from Sydney we then flew to Cairns minus our bags. So why am I telling you this story? I'm telling you this story because it's a perfect example of how the butterfly effect works. How a minute localized change in a complex system can have effects elsewhere. Think about it. A decision made by the first officer to call in sick with very little warning created a chain reaction of events that they are probably oblivious to. They created additional work for the ground crew, the service department, not to mention the inconvenience to the passengers, and an additional 7 hours added to our trip. And even as I record this, and my bags have still not arrived, so there are still people out there looking for my bags who are going to drop them off at some stage. So they are totally unaware of all the things that they actually created just by having that time off. It's important to understand that your business is a complex system, and every team member of your team needs to be aware of how his or her actions can affect everybody else in the team. Now, the example I was talking about was somebody calling in sick at the last minute. They need to be aware that when they do that, how it affects everybody else in the team and how it affects every client that actually has an appointment that particular day. But this is why you need to have the disaster folder. You need to have a step-by-step process of what everybody needs to do so that your clients are impacted as least as possible when something like this occurs. And it will occur. Don't think it won't occur. It will actually occur. But the butterfly effect can have so many other impacts on your business. Yeah, if the person in your business is responsible for ordering particular items in your business and it is not ordered, what happens when you reach for it and it's not there? What effect does that have on the functioning of your business that particular day? If they were supposed to return a phone call and that phone call was not done, what effect does that have on the client that was supposed to be called? Or it could have been a supplier, or it could have been a professional referrer. What impact is that going to have on your business? This is like an extension of your disaster folder. Look at all the things that could possibly go wrong in your business. You want to try and work out all the things that you can do to try and avoid them from happening. Have a step-by-step process on what you need to do when it occurs. But I think every person in your business, regardless of the position they hold, they need to really understand the butterfly effect. They need to understand that when they make a particular decision, they need to be aware of how their actions affect other things in the business and how it has a flow-on effect. Okay, that was just something that I thought was worth sharing. I hope you get something from that today. Just make sure your team is aware how their actions affect everybody else, and I'll talk to you again next week. Bye for now.